I don't know how we're gonna start this.
I was just gonna go right in
Cold
with
open?
an intro. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I was gonna do a quick cold open.
I like it.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. On today's mini-sode, we're talking how Tinder turned dating upside down. Should we give half a bleep about the racist and homophobic Twitter ramblings of teenagers just because a handful of years later they became professional athletes? And New York's 14th is the most exciting congressional district this side of November. Let's hit the music. Welcome to Shades Life is a Fantasy Draft. I'm Daniel Gewirtz. We're missing our third, but with me today is the Sancho Panza to my Don Quixote, John Gorman. John, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I don't appreciate you calling me that.
Is that a have I offended you somehow?
I mean, I know who Don Quixote is.
Sure.
His sidekick, Tonto.
Sancho Panza?
Sancho
Tonto,
Panza. You know what?
Isn't
I'm thinking of the Lone Ranger.
yeah. Yeah, you're thinking of the heinous Native American exploitation.
Yeah, that's
not what I was doing.
That show did not age well.
A lot of that stuff doesn't age well. And speaking of not aging well, what a great segue.
You're welcome.
Like that is an A+ segue. Thank you. Speaking of not aging well, are these young people who are going to be famous? How do they not know they're going to be famous? So in the news recently, and we don't normally do timely things because our posting schedule isn't it's not good enough for that. But
it's when we feel like it.
We have 3 athletes, younger athletes, who have recently been exposed for having made racist and homophobic tweets when they were younger, before they became famous, and the media goes out and unearths them. So
I don't know if the media unearths them. I think there's like a dedicated elite squad of super users that like just scours the internet looking for
2018.
Looking for people to be like, aha, I told you they were terrible.
In 2018, fans of opposing teams are members of an elite squad known as the Special Tweeting Unit.
Boop, boop.
These are their stories.
Law and Order STU. Yes. So I want to preface this by saying I don't know what they said. I know that they tweeted something. And frankly, up until 5 minutes before showtime, I didn't know these people existed.
That's another thing. So I know Josh Hader is I believe he's a relief pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Sean Newcomb is one I didn't actually know. He is apparently a pitcher for the Braves. So Sean Newcomb was born in 1993. That makes him that makes him 25 years old.
Oh my God.
Also, Trey Turner just turned 25 years old.
Okay.
So Trey Turner, in 2011, when he was 18, tweeted, "Once you go black, you're gonna need a wheelchair."
Oh.
And then he followed that up. Didn't follow it up, but about 2 months later, he tweeted at someone, "You're gay for your last tweet, and you have retard strength."
Okay.
I mean, that's not.
I don't think I've ever tweeted that, but
Did I say that when I was 17, 18 years old? Probably.
I probably did.
Right? Like, I mean, let's stop. Here's the thing, and I'll get into Sean Newcomb. His tweets are a little worse. Okay. A little worse. Okay. But I'll get into what he tweeted in a second. But this type of thing happens a lot, right? Like when I remember in 1996, everyone freaked out when we found out that Bill Clinton may or may not have smoked weed.
That was 92.
Was it 92? Okay, my mistake. 1992. Yeah. Everyone was freaking out when we found out that Bill Clinton may have smoked weed at some point in his life. And I mean, I guess at that time I was 7, but as I got older and I looked back at the reaction to that, it's like, yeah, and? Which one of these reporters are you going to say didn't smoke weed? Let me get into what Sean Newcomb tweeted, because here's where we can sort of differentiate ourselves a little bit. Sean Newcomb, November of 2011. Again, he's 17, 18 years old, maybe, 17, I think.
Okay.
Skinny, N-word, big balls. I'm not lazy. Hashtag FAG.
Is that a lyric?
I don't probably. December 2011. This gay black kid won't stop representing about black hair, and that appears to be it. Like, okay, that's bad, right? Like, you shouldn't use the N-word. Like, I think that's the easiest. That's the hottest take of them all, right? You shouldn't use the N-word.
There's not too many things that we can. I say we in extreme air quotes. There's not many things that we agree on as a society more than white people shouldn't say the N-word.
Yeah. Obviously, these things are wrong, and we're not here to try to excuse or, forgive these people for making these tweets, but can we not punish a 25-year-old for something stupid that he said when he was 18?
I feel like they're holding it up as a "don't let this be you."
Yeah, and that's it. That's the extent of it. So, what's the point? Like, I understand, and I've done this before too. I understand going into someone's past in Twitter to see everything that they've ever said. I get it. Like, you're a big fan
ex-girlfriend.
of Yeah. I may or may not have done that last week. I don't know. But so, like, I get the concept academically, but for the media to then take it and run with it, like, who cares?
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Maybe because I'm way too close to the sun on this. But I don't feel as though, like, if you are a markedly different person 7 or 8 years after you do something pretty stupid, like, I think people forget how long of a time 7 or 8 years is.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think especially the people reporting on this, right? They're older people, right? Like, I see
they're
because
our age.
Are they really? I was just gonna say, because I see in Facebook, right? I use Facebook still. I know I'm a fossil, and
it's fine. You're a dad.
I get, I get my memories. This day 9 years ago, what was I doing? And I look at it and I'm like, my God, what an idiot. Thank God nobody will ever care about me.
You think that?
Yeah.
You may not.
So
you may end up. You better button those tweets down.
No. Facebook says it's all being kept private, and I'm going to believe it.
Oh, sure. You, Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, and Russia. That's the only people with access.
The entire nation of Russia.
Yeah, literally. There's just like a Access an American website where, like, anyone in Russia can log on to the internet and instantly become any American of their choosing.
Instead of internet cafes, they just have American cafes.
Yeah.
It's
like Russian roulette.
So I feel like the people who are reporting on this are either super hypocrites or they're just unaware of the fact that 8 years is a long time, and especially when you're going from 17 to 25. Like, that's a big 8 years.
I lose count after 21.
Basically.
But so you're going to be 33 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I want you to imagine where you were in your life on your 26th birthday.
Yeah, okay.
That was 2011.
Yep.
So this was after I got done corrupting you. I had left. I was at a chili cook-off, according to Facebook.
Hold on. Yeah, let me see what I let's see what I posted exactly.
Yeah. What
7 years ago today. Hold on. Fill for a second.
All right. So I'll give you a rundown. 8 years ago today, I wrote, "Holla at a playa when you see him on the roof."
So
now, that's an inside joke.
I know what it's in reference to.
You know what it's in reference to. I'll say this for our listeners, both of them. Thanks, Mom. I had slept with someone on the roof of on like a 3-floor house.
I thought it was a restaurant.
It was a restaurant. It wasn't like a 3-story restaurant. It was a restaurant in the bottom floor of a 3-story building.
Gotcha.
The thing that made it dangerous was that the roof was like at a 45-degree incline, and we weren't like tied to anything. So like one wrong thrust, and you're falling to your death.
Can I just? And I think I can tell this in equally as oblique terms. So,
okay.
A year later, you had left town, and
correct.
that self-same young lady came to hang out. I believe it was a July 4 celebration.
Okay.
And she came to hang out with me and Greg and our other mutual friend. Anyway, so she came over unannounced to his house while the three of us were there. And we started talking about you because it was literally our only connection point to her. And she said, I have the craziest John Gorman story to tell you guys. And we were like, we looked at her and we laughed. We were like, the craziest John Gorman story? And she said, yes.
The craziest?
She said, yes, there is nothing crazier than this story I'm about to tell you. And she tells us that story. And we look at her and we're like, not only did he post about that on Facebook, but that's probably not the craziest John Gorman story we've heard today. And we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him because he moved to Austin like 7 months ago.
Yeah.
9 years ago, I had just finished taking the bar exam.
Okay.
And so I literally just posted, actually took the bar exam. 8 years ago,
pretty solid.
8 years ago, I wrote a letter to Brian Cashman.
Correct.
So I wrote, Dear Brian Cashman, I hope you got a gift receipt. While I really do appreciate the thought that went into your birthday present to me, I just don't need a Lance Berkman. I already have a Mark Teixeira and a Marcus Thames. That's pretty funny. I used to be hilarious, you guys.
Lance Berkman, how long did he play for the Yankees? 6 months?
Yeah, I think it was just the rest of that season.
By the way, holla at a player when you see him on the roof. Comments from both Daniel and Greg.
Of course. See, this is how long we hated each other.
A year ago, I wrote, this restaurant isn't even open anymore, but the memory remains.
Oh.
That's how long 7 years is, people. Restaurants close.
Dude, it's such... And we're talking about, to spin it back to the main subject here, which is Trey Turner, Sean Newcomb, and not Bill Hader, but Josh Hader. These were kids. They were literal children. And they said something stupid, and the media jumped on them. And now, here's the problem, right? They weren't punished for anything, because they didn't do anything wrong. But they were publicly shamed. Right. And the population hates the media so much that they give Hader a standing ovation the next time he takes the mound. What are we giving him a standing ovation for? We're giving him a standing ovation essentially for making racist tweets when he was a kid.
I think the real villains in this story are the people who stood and
cheered.
Absolutely.
It's weird to say this, but we need new media. And I think we're sort of getting there. With
is the new media though just the people who dig up old tweets?
Is that? I kind of hope not. I feel like the new media.
I think that's where we're headed.
I feel like we're heading to a place where the people who we trust are the responsible aggregators, like the Huffington Posts of the world, who will comb through all of the old tweets, but they'll say, "Look, this is stupid. Don't look at it. Here's the important stories of the day." We need someone to comb through the tweet, because we're getting a lot of first party news now, right? We're getting a lot of the athletes are literally giving us the news. An athlete is tweeting,
like Players Tribune, IG,
and, Instagram and Twitter, just players talking right to the fans, and newsmakers talking right to the people, right? Senators and the president himself are tweeting right to the people. Here's what happened in the briefing room today.
What could go wrong?
I really need more we need more responsible social media users. But that's a completely other story.
Sure.
And we have like artists releasing albums right to their fans through their their own personal webpage. So what we need someone who is going to aggregate all of that information and give it to us in a form that we can consume.
We used to need people who would turn the faucet on, and now we need people to turn the faucet off.
I don't know about turning the faucet off. I like that analogy. I think it's more buy a Brita filter.
You know what I was doing 7 years ago? Nothing. I was doing nothing. I had a girlfriend. I don't even know what kind of job I had. It wasn't a good one.
No, I mean, people don't. It's weird. People don't, especially when we're talking about going from 18 to 25. People don't realize apparently how much of a gap that is. Like that's a huge. That's become from going from a child to a man. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, I don't care. Tomorrow I'm not going to remember who these people were. Newcomb.
Who are they?
Trey Turner, who I might have thought was Trey Young, and Josh Hader. I may have thought the story was more interesting when I thought it was Trey Young and not Trey Turner.
I thought it was Trey Songz.
I thought it was Trey Wingo. So
all due respect to Trey Wingo,
of course. Hal is as he's known.
They call him Hal?
He's Hal. He's Hal Wingo the
I
third.
didn't know that.
Call him Trey.
That's an amazing nickname.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a
His
thing.
name isn't Trey. He's Hal Wingo the third.
He played so much croquet as a child.
I'm surprised he's not a co-owner of ESPN.
Stay woke,
Hal
kids.
Chapman Wingo III is the son of Hal Wingo, the founding editor of People magazine, because of course.
Oh my God!
He grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut, where he attended high school with Steve Young.
Ah! That kid played so much croquet as a child.
I'm really glad. You know what? I'm really glad that a young kid who grew up in such such hard times was able to achieve and become the co-host of a morning show on ESPN Radio.
It's a scrappy underdog
story.
story.
I'm really happy for him. Like it warms the heart.
Do you think deep down he sort of resents never moving more than 100 miles from home? Do you think maybe he like took a job with the Los Angeles Times and like his mother was like, "Oh, I don't know if I trust you over there on that other coast," and he was like, "Ma, it's my life. Why don't you just work at ESPN like me and your father want to?"
That's exactly what happened. I don't even need to read the rest of his Wikipedia page. That's exactly what happened. Oh, God. He worked on TV in St. Louis, Missouri from 91 to 97.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 6 years? Oh, all right. Sorry, Trey.
Hal. So let's move on to New York's 14th Congressional District, where John Gorman has done some fabulous work with a fabulous person that he needs to tell us about. And he needs to tell you, if you're listening in the state of New York, especially in the 14th Congressional District, you need to vote for this person. I mean, you're not going to vote for the other party, but you need to get out and you need to support Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. John, you have the floor. You have the floor.
So, I write words for Alex, and I know that's vague. And I know that's weird that I just called her Alex on air. Like I don't want anyone to come away from here feeling like yes, I have her number, but I don't use it. Like that's where we're at.
That's a uniquely 2018 concept. Right, because I feel like 30 years ago, 50 years ago, if you had someone's phone number, it's because you were going to call them.
Right. You got someone's number and you were like, this person's either a friend, a relative, or someone I buy something from. and I therefore need this
Right.
person's contact info. So there are components of her website and her marketing collateral that I am directly responsible for creating. All right, so let's back all the way up and let's talk about how this came together, because it's a uniquely 2018
Because, by the way, John Gorman has never lived anywhere near the Bronx, New York.
So I after last year's it only feels like after 2 years ago, I had that feeling of like, you know when Scar ascends the throne
Yes.
of Pride Rock in The Lion King? I felt like that was happening in real life. And I'm like, this is going to suck for a while. Where's Simba? So I was like, okay, what am I going to be able to do that is going to fix this thing? And I came across something that said brand new Congress. And I was like, that seems like a wholesale change. And so I signed up, and I was like, well, you know, I've never run before. Maybe I'll do it. And I was like, no, I have bad credit and a criminal record.
Okay.
I'm just going to watch. So I ended up joining this group, and one of the people who got drafted to run was this woman. And I looked at her platform. You know, she had like a shell of a platform at that point, and it seemed like she had like a real, like, I saw a couple videos of her. She had like this can-do spirit and this like really just like breathtakingly different ideas on how society could function. And I was like, this gal seems legit. And so I followed her on social, and I signed her, social being Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And then I signed up for her mailing list, which I've never done before. I've never signed up for a politician's mailing list.
And then at some point,
There's no
you got into contact with her.
Yeah, because like, you know, she had like 1,000 followers back then. So I'm just like, well, I got like 1,000 followers. Guess that means we're pretty much the same.
In hindsight, that's a hilarious thing for you to have thought. So you met her. You met her via the internet in a very 2018 way.
I did not. Right, I met her via the internet in the way
Tinder?
that most people meet,
DMs.
in the DMs. So we end up talking, and like, whatever, words were exchanged, and I got a note on her mailing list that said she was looking for a copywriter. And I was like, well, this is me. And so I was like, hey, I got this. And she hooked me up with her, I guess, creative director. I don't, his name is, I'm not going to name him, but like, anyway, we got in touch. He was like, hey, I got a pilot project for you. We took care of this pilot project. It did pretty well. It did kind of a lap around the internet.
When you say pilot project,
I'll
are
leave it
you
at that.
being oblique on purpose? I won't specify. Never mind.
Yeah. Being oblique on purpose. And the reason I do that, and so to spin it back to why I'm intentionally vague, is words I can't publicly take credit for specific things I write. Like, there's nothing where I was like, hey, I have an idea. Well, actually, that's not true. Anyway, so that went well. The campaign reached out. They were like, hey, you know, let's keep you on. Let's work together all the way up through November. And I was like, that sounds great. I'm on board. Now, and so what the strategy for the campaign was we were going to hit the young voters, and we were going to hit the communities of color. People of color in the Bronx typically do not, and they don't do it because they don't see someone who they feel represents them and their best interests. She was young, and a lot of the gentrified population of Astoria, who are people about our age.
Sure.
You know, they saw her and loved her, but she also did well in the Bronx. So because she was real representation, and because she is such a charismatic person with such bold ideas, she was easy for people to get behind.
I'll be honest with you. When word of her started spreading around the country, I didn't believe for a second that she had any kind of a chance. And that's just my cynicism in saying, look, the incumbency rate in Congress is 98%. So, and you're going to primary challenge, a 10-term senator or a 10-term representative. Like that's just not something you're going to do. And it sucks that you have no chance,
Right.
A la Bernie Sanders. Anyone who says they were surprised that Bernie Sanders lost the Democratic nomination in 2016 just doesn't know anything about politics. I would have said the same thing about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Like zero chance. I gave her zero chance. And I was like, this really sucks because, she seems like a wonderful person and John Gorman's behind her and he doesn't get behind people in politics very much. Well,
How random was that?
Let me circle this around really to the next topic, right? Because it is so 2018 for you to have basically Tinder matched a politician, right? Because as I understand, and you can correct me if my understanding of what you did is wrong here, but you went on a service, Change Congress, New Congress. What was it again? Brand New Congress. You went on a service, Brand New Congress.
Brand New Congress.
And the way I see it is various people who are thinking about running or being considered for running for office look for cheap or free labor, as it were, for their electronic social media presence. Right? Is that kind of what it is? Like that's what, they're looking for followers and supporters and possibly help for their websites and for their, electronic presence, right?
That you have the mechanism right, but you have the flow backwards.
Someone will put their information into this website and say, I would like to run for Congress for this district, and here's my platform, and people will look at that like a dating profile and say, oh yeah, I agree with all of these things. I would love to help you.
Right. So they get drafted by other people, but yeah, you're essentially correct.
I know that I might be offending people, and I know that I'm boiling it way down to its basest terms, but it's basically a dating website for politicians. So, like it is so millennial.
Yeah.
It is so 2018 and beyond that just like there's no, I don't know. I don't even know. It turns politics upside down in much the same way. Let's just move on to the next topic here. Tinder has turned dating upside down. So, I'm so good at this. It's like I'm a professional.
What a segue.
So, about 19 months ago, I rejoined the dating scene, as it were. And I had not been in the dating scene since 2010. So I missed, basically, the rise of internet dating. And so I jumped right back in with a damn Tinder profile.
As you do.
You've never used Tinder?
Tinder. I've never used Tinder, so walk me. Walk me through how this works.
You pick, your 8 best pictures, which it's 2018, so you've taken 7,000 pictures of yourself. You can find 8 good ones, and you have 500 characters to talk about yourself. And say something witty. 500 characters, what they give you. 4 tweets. And then you look at other people's 8 pictures and 500 characters. So the way that you used to meet people, say you were in school with someone or you went out to a bar, you would see someone that you would like to get to know, you approach them, you talk to them hopefully, and you ask for a phone number, and then you get to know each other, and then you date, and then things progress, right? That's how it used to happen, right? It started with a potential for physical attraction. But we're doing it backwards now. We're starting with an emotional connection. We're starting with the conversation. So yeah, sure, you see a picture of someone, you know whether or not they're hideous. But you don't actually know if there's a physical spark with a photograph. You can't tell that until you actually interact with a person in person. But you're starting with your wittiest one-liner, right? That's what you're going to put in your 500 characters. Your wittiest one-liner. And a photograph and a text conversation. Which, again, you have, when you're texting someone, you have the ability to backspace, you have the ability to read, check maybe a thesaurus, go on Wikipedia real quick to make sure you're not saying something that's flat out wrong. So you're making this emotional connection with a person. Okay. Let's say, you know, we're professionals, right? Think about yourself right now. If you were going to meet someone online right now, you wouldn't set up a date for tomorrow. You'd set up a date for a week from today, right? Because you're probably busy tomorrow, right? You're an adult and you have things to do. Tell her that.
I have a date.
So you're setting up a date for a week from now, but during that week, you're not radio silent. You're texting with this person.
Okay.
You're exchanging stories. You're learning about her. You talk to each other, and assuming things are going well, you continue talking. So you talk for 7 days, right? And then you finally meet in person. But over the course of 7 days, you can have full-on conversations and develop an actual emotional connection with a person. Then you meet them. That's backwards, because what if you meet them and there is no spark? Okay. So all right, well.
No, that's fine. Continue your Tinder story.
So I have two correlating topics I wanted to get to. So I'm in a softball league, and my softball team needs to have 4 women on it. We had a few women drop out from last season. We have next season starting on Thursday, and I don't know enough people, and nobody on my team can find anyone. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make a Tinder profile for my softball team. So I made a Tinder profile for my softball team, and I said, I'm looking for girls. And the name on the profile is Lost Boys, which is the name of my softball team. So it doesn't say, you know, Daniel age 33. It says Lost Boys. I couldn't put in 2017 as the birthday because you have to be at least 18 to be on Tinder. Distance was 20 miles. I'm not picky at all. I literally just need a warm body who will show up every Thursday. Like, that's all I need. Like, that's not, you know, like the rules of the team. If I don't get a 4th woman, all of my friends who put in their money, we just lose our money. Like, the league will take our money and not let us play. So, like, I need a 4th woman.
If I had a dollar for every time I've said that.
I go ahead and swipe yes on everybody. Because I'm not looking for anything, right? I'm literally just looking, do you have a heartbeat? Yes or no? So I get... Now... To go back to my personal life, I have gone in my personal life more than a month without getting a single match on Tinder. Now, it's normal for dudes because dudes are thirsty. Women are picky on Tinder because they can be. So, like, I have gone a month without getting a match, like a single match. In one night, my softball team got 12 matches. 3 of them actually responded. So I sent all of them a message saying, hey, I don't know if you actually read my profile or not. I'm not actually looking to date you. I'm looking to get a 4th girl for my softball team. Are you interested in playing softball? One was a bot, which pretended that I asked what it was doing that day. It was real funny.
Okay.
And one of them actually did sign up for the team. And so we did find our 4th, and she will be there.
Great.
And everything worked out well.
Swipes right, bats left.
As long as she's a she and she shows up, these are the things that I care about. But anyway, my point was, so women, I started to ask around, and I asked women that I know who use Tinder, and I'm like, well, how many matches do you get in a day? And they're like, well, basically every time I swipe right on someone, it's a match. Because guys are thirsty. Because guys are swiping right on everybody, and the women are just doing the choosing. So I guess that's a form of equality.
Right.
But it still leads to backwards dating. It's just literally the easiest.
No one appears to enjoy it. Like, it's low effort.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to go out to a bar. I can do this from home.
You know, you go and you do it and you finish up.
I'm just sitting at home anyway. I should just be, instead
of
scrolling down on Insta, I should just be swiping on Tinder. Probably get... I don't want to do this because, like, I I've had a really nice run of not downloading a dating app, and I already have dates lined up for this week. But, like, how long would it take me, right? Because I'm not very tall, not very athletic.
Attractive.
I don't have, like, a super symmetrical face.
That you were painting.
You know? Like, I kind of look like a blank canvas upon which you could probably paint a more attractive man. Because people are always like, oh, you kind of look like somebody I know. It's average name. I'm average height, average build, brown hair, brown eyes, average skin tone, like, average name. Like, I'm as unmemorable as it gets.
Your face isn't inoffensive, so people will match you, and, then you're in because you're witty. So, you probably would clean up on Tinder, but that's not really the point. We're a generation now from the internet, right? Like, and you and I live in different neighborhoods because you hang out on Twitter and Instagram, and I hang out on Facebook, so we never see each other.
Right, and also, like, to peel back the curtain a little bit on this podcast, I don't know if people know this, but, like, Daniel, Greg, and I don't live near each other.
I wanted to get off my chest that Tinder is a backwards way to date. But it's a truly millennial way, right? Because we actually do, I think, for the first time in recorded human history, we millennials, and I'm probably too old to call myself a millennial, but we actually care more about what's on the inside than what's on the outside, right? We actually care about making human connection with people, which is why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez can be elected. In 2018. I don't think she could have been elected in any other election cycle prior to this one.
Right. She is the youngest person, I guess.
For 200 years, we cared more about what was shown on the outside than what actually appeared on the inside. The best example of that I can give is the first debate that was ever televised between John Kennedy and Richard Nixon. Everyone who listened to the debate on the radio said Richard Nixon won the debate. Everyone who watched the debate on TV said John Kennedy won it. I wonder why that is. Because John Kennedy looks like John Kennedy and Richard Nixon looks like Richard Nixon.
Kennedy. So I sort of feel like we're going the other way. I feel like we're more superficial, like more surface level now than we've ever been. I feel like what we've done now is we've attached depth and emotional resonance to really pretty, beautiful things in people that we otherwise wouldn't have. Because here's what I mean. Like, if you take a look at, like, what is popular on Instagram, a lot of there's various different types of people on Instagram. There's style bloggers, there's entrepreneurs, there's wellness gurus, there's mindfulness gurus, there's so on and so forth. And, like, they seem like they would have nothing in common. Some are athletes, some are business people, some are, doctors or whatever. But, like, there are all these different types of people. But the one thing that they all have in common is they all sort of post pictures that look vaguely the same. Like, it doesn't matter if you are a startup consultant in San Francisco or you are an artisanal single malt distiller in Brooklyn. For whatever reason, you all hang out at the same coffee shop. And they all the thing that they all have in common is they all are pretty. Whether they're guys or girls or what have you, like, they're all gorgeous. They're all, and the things that they say all kind of vaguely sound the same. They're all like, filled with gratitude to my heart's content. Can't believe I'm having this moment with my besties. And the thing that they all have in common is people will comment and being like, great pic, beautiful, sexy, love it, gorgeous. And it's like, I'm not sure you read that.
And I think this is indicative of how, and not to get too personal, just how you and I are in different places in our lives, because everyone I follow on Facebook and Instagram is a parent blogger. And there's been a turn, right? Because there was a time, not even that long ago, just a few years ago, when all parents and even parent bloggers would just post pictures and memories of the very best moments of raising children. And then there was a pretty quick backlash. Dad and Buried wrote an article about, my kid is an a-hole. Like that was like the title of the post. Like, my kid is an a-hole. And I read that and I was like, yes, mine too.
I love it.
But I love her anyway, right? Like that, and that's basically become the theme of parent blogging. So, yeah, of course there are going to be those pictures where the two kids are sitting down and actually eating their pancakes for breakfast, but also there's going to be the other picture, probably in the comments, of the one kid dumping his plate out on the ground and syrup all over the cat, and it's like, yeah, that's real life. And this is just, what I see out there. Right. People are willing to share more of what's real in their lives to make a connection with, their readers and their fans. If you want to read about someone who's really bearing their soul for you, it's johngorman.co, and there's a lot of other places like that where you can find that these days. You are inviting people into the deepest, darkest corners of your life that you have never met in person, and you don't know if you would want these people there. So this is a full-on episode, I guess.
Wasn't this supposed to be a mini-sode?
So we got to get out of here. This
is like a trilogy.
John, thank you all so much for listening. Shouts out to Geeks Unlimited. Apologies to Flin Flon. They had some kind of Flin Flon Pride had some kind of an issue where they insulted some black people, I think, and they apologized. They apologized and they fired the people responsible.
We done flucked up.
If Greg Dennis ever comes back from his illness or whatever is happening to him, we will talk about that next week. Until then, thank you everyone for listening, and we will talk to you soon.
Have a great week.